Good afternoon, speed gaming fans. We got a nice hot and spicy one here between Relkin and Bonta for the round of 32 in the Link to the Past Randomizer tournament. This will be a game 2 between these two runners, with Bonta taking the first win. So Relkin is fighting for his tournament life. If he manages to win, we will see a game 3 tiebreaker after this. If Bonta manages to win, he will move on to the round of 16. My name is Swerb, and I am joined by my lovely co-commentator, Wired Wiki. How are you doing today, Wiki?
Hey, good everyone. Yeah, I'm doing fine. How about yourself, actually?
You know, I'm doing pretty well. I got a late start to my day. You mentioned it's a little past 2 p.m. here. I just filled up another cup of coffee, and I'm excited to enjoy my relaxing Sunday afternoon with this Link to the Past Randomizer.
Yeah, same. I'm really looking forward to this one. So what we know about the seed, it's a 7 crystal to open GT and 7 crystal to actually beat Ganon, but it's a fast Ganon as well, so GT might not be required.
Yeah, and it'd be a very, very rare situation where they need to go into Ganon's tower. The fast Ganon setting means that the Ganon hole on top of the pyramid is already open.
Yes, exactly. And I think the only case where they have to dip into GT is when they don't have a second sword yet after 7 crystals.
Yeah, that'd be the only situation that would make it absolutely required. Otherwise, neither of these players will need anything, but you know, some like less experienced players might want to dip into GT looking for some additional safeties or, you know, silver arrows or something along that line. But literally just the sword would be the only thing required. We did see an early map check there with the Hera being a red crystal with the other two being pendants. Desert Palace being the green pendant. Or I got that mixed up. Eastern Palace being a crystal. Both runners opting to head on over to the uncle for these first 2 item checks as a start. Just finding 70 rupees between those 2 locations. Oh, and the flute in Sanctuary for Bonta.
This means they already have an early access to Death Mountain here. That might be interesting.
Yeah, that does open early logical access to Death Mountain. It's also just a fantastic item to find right away in the Light World. Especially when you don't have boots. It's just going to make this early game a lot quicker, a lot more efficient, being able to zip around the overworld and check all these locations. It'll make checks like, say, Ice Rod Cave down in the southeast corner of the map a lot more, like, desirable. It can be kind of a slow check if you don't have boots or you don't have flute, but with that flute, you can flute right on over there.
Bonta opting to check lumberjack ledge. That was hard to say, and it was just bombs if I saw that correct.
Yeah, just a pack of bombs up there. So that does mean Egganim will not be required unless we need to take them out for that Dark World access. We do see Bonta killing a few more enemies here than Relkin is. It looks like he's going to try to check at least an additional tree pole to checking that tier 2. Bonta opting not to pick up the red rupee, whereas Relkin did, because Relkin does want to get that 100 rupees. He's sitting at 104 now, just to make sure he has enough money for this bottle vendor down here and get that check out of the way.
I wonder if Relkin actually gonna spend the money for the bottle vendor or opting to buy the bombs at the shop to get more checks in Kakariko.
Yeah, that's a good question. Typically, you can probably expect to find 50 more rupees, especially considering the 30 in the back of Blind's house and the additional blue rupees down in the well. So yeah, he might opt to just buy the bombs, and then he'll make some additional money to be able to pay for that bottle merch. Yeah, there's the bomb pickup.
Yeah, it looks like Kakariko has enough money for both Relkin and Bonta to actually check the bottle vendor afterwards.
Oh yeah, easily. Relkin already just needs us 6 more rupees, which he'll be able to pick up from just a couple pots here, even if he doesn't find any money from the chests, which he likely will. Hey, and there's a sword.
Yeah, the first sword there in the Kakariko well.
It's obviously also a very nice find. Just having something to reliably take out the enemies. And the Moon Pearl. So that is one of our keys to the Dark World access there. At this point, we would just need either the cape and lamp to make our way through Aghanim's Tower to get to Dark World, or a glove and hammer, or both gloves. Kind of finding that Dark World access is kind of the first major objective of a Link to the Past Randomizer seed. And with that, Relkin has mostly mopped up Kakariko here. He's gonna head south. He's got oh yeah, he's still got to pay for this bottle merchant. He's got to head a little bit further south. He'll be able to check out what's sitting on the library shelf, which will require the boots unlock later on. And he'll be able to check this race game item as well. Decide whether he wants to grab it, and then we will see him flute off. At this point, with a sword, the escape sequence wouldn't be too difficult, so we might see an early escape sequence. Though I suspect we'll see a flute down to the south regions of the map first to clear out Mini Moldorm Cave and its 5 items. So let's check the dam and a few other locations down there.
Yeah, I expect either south of Hyrule as well, or maybe even an early Death Mountain check, although that's not very likely with only 2 locations open. Or, well, 3 if you sequence break.
Yeah, without the lamp, the old man up there is technically out of logic, but, you know, these players should have no issue making it through the cave with a sword. That's only 1 check, though, and then another one in the Spectacle Rock Cave, and then are the only 2 that they can actually get. They'll be able to kind of take a look at what's sitting on top of Spectacle Rock, but that requires the mirror to actually reach.
And soon we're gonna see what Mini Moldorm Cave has for us today.
We got a pair of flippers, a heart piece, some arrows, some more arrows, and another heart piece. Kind of a convenient place to find the flippers, though, right here next to the lake. Relkin getting that flute ready, though. Yeah, he's gonna head on over to 8 here. Just saves a little bit of that walking time, and pop him a little bit closer over to Ice Rod Cave. After checking this chest, we'll see if he decides to immediately follow these flipper. Oh, and the book. So that will open up a little bit of Desert Palace action. Relkin switching back to that flute. So he's going to go explore a little bit more. Likely wanting to put off these flipper checks until he has 500 rupees to be able to purchase the Zora item. Meanwhile, Bonta is immediately following up on the flippers. He's going to swim up here, check in on our buddy under the bridge over.
Yeah, Relkin opting to do the old man in the dark, which should be no problem. And Bonta with the flipper checks. I wonder if Bonta is actually going to leave Ice Rod Cave behind now.
Yeah, I would assume that he is, at least for a little bit. Again, with that flute, it's not that difficult to get over there. So you can kind of, opt to do that whenever he kind of feels like routing that in. Without really, it's not really going to cost him any additional time to put it off until later. It's just going to mean he can't follow that book. Oh, but it does look like he's actually going to swim on over here. Bonta will be getting that book, and Relkin is heading his way into Sahasrola's house over here. He's going to grab the 3 items in the back. And with that, Eastern Palace being a pendant. Is that what it was? I missed most of the map checks. So I was just... Oh, hello, Boots. A little missed flute from Relkin. Now he's gonna head on down over here to the desert. A hook shot.
Wow. Yeah, that's an interesting location. Yeah, hookshot's gonna open the rest of Death Mountain here. Almost everything. I think only Tower of Hera is not open at this point in the Light World.
Yeah, that hook shot will allow him to cross the bridge over to the east Death Mountain, where Paradox Cave is sitting with 7 items, and Spiral Cave with an additional item for 8 total, as well as being able to take a look at the item sitting on the floating island. Won't be able to reach that until much later, but just having knowledge of what it is can be very helpful.
Yeah, and Bonta actually went for the Zora Ledge check and found, I think it was Quake there? It was at least one of the medallions.
Okay, interesting. And then he's opting to leave that behind for now. He knows it's there, so he can just go back and pick it up if it ends up being required later. Or when he has enough money to also purchase the Zora item for the 500 rupees. He's going to head on into the escape sequence in Hyrule Castle here. Meanwhile, Relkin is going to clear out the front portions of Desert Palace. Without a fire source and a glove, he won't be able to clear out the back and reach the boss and get the green pendant. So he will be able to just grab whatever's in the big chest here, as well as that hook shot that will unlock those 8 items up on Death Mountain we were talking about. Oh!
Is that Vanilla Mitts?
That is a vanilla glove, yes. Alright, but he's still lacking a fire source to actually get to the boss.
Yeah, the Mola is not in reach yet. But at least he can pick up the hookshot. So that's good.
And that does mean we are just another glove or hammer away from Dark World access.
Oh, the
Relkin.
Oh no.
Getting dead rock blocked. These are just the most frustrating enemy in this game, and possibly just about any game. You can't really kill them. Well, you can kill them with Quake, actually, or Powder, turn them into a slime, but normally just hitting them just turns them into an impassable object, which is just a load of fun.
Ooh, kind of some Mario up there. In Spectacle Rock.
And that's a good find. That's going to be absolutely required since we know there are 2 pendants in the light world. That means Misery Mire or Turtle Rock. At least one of those has to be required, and both of them always require the cane. So that's another required item off of the list here. It's not going to do anything in terms of unlocking anything immediately, though. Meanwhile, Bonta is making his way through the Dark Sewers portion of the escape area in Hyrule Castle. Not finding much for his trouble so far, other than a shovel, which will just lead to another item.
Bonta is immediately gonna check the shovel, the dig location, so that's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, this isn't really... I mean, you could maybe route it in a little bit later with Dark World if you happen to get Meteor, but that's kind of counting on a lot to happen, so you might as well just knock this out, see if you found anything useful, and it's just a pack of bombs.
Relkin finding another sword upgrade and 2 mill upgrades right next to each other. Wow.
Alright, he found the armory cave here. He's got, yeah, the red mail already, which is going to significantly reduce the damage he takes. It's going to make the seed a lot easier. And that Master Sword is going to help him dish out some additional damage. And does kill the beam in front of Agnum's tower. But we still need a lamp to put that in logic. And Bonta following up that book into Desert, he'll be able to pick up that hook shot on the Desert Ledge, and he'll be able to... Oh, hello, Mir for Relkin. Wow.
Yeah, this actually opens up Tower of Hera. That's convenient.
It certainly does, and with that hook shot... Now, typically, you might need a fire requirement for Hera. The hookshot would allow him to do a Hera pot glitch, which will let him kind of climb to the top real quickly and bypass needing to do the basement that's fire locked. But he's going to follow up these boots first. He's going to go check Bonk Rocks. Possibly, likely, we'll do the back of escape with the glove there. Meanwhile, Bonta is just kind of slowly strolling through Desert Palace here. We do want to see him head on over to Sahasrarla's, where he's got the boots in the back. Thankfully, in Desert, though, the map is just sitting on the Desert Ledge there, so Bonta isn't really missing anything by doing Desert without boots, just taking a little bit more time.
Yeah, and I can only imagine Bonta going straight to Death Mountain after finding that hookshot.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
probably
absolutely.
gonna cost Bonta more time.
Yeah, the early boots are such a nice find. So hopefully... Oh, okay, that's also a nice find. A tempered sword for Relkin in the back of Escape. Relkin definitely pulling ahead a little bit here early on. But we are only 18 minutes in, and there's a lot of things that could happen.
Yeah, definitely. And Bonta opting to go for Agina. I don't think Relkin went for that. I think Relkin went straight to Death Mountain.
Yeah, Relkin just immediately fluted away. Oh!
Oh! Well. That's a big find.
That's huge. That's interesting. So that does mean Bonta has full-on Dark World access. Which is, like I mentioned, kind of like the first big goal of the Randomizer seed is you want to get that Dark World access, because that unlocks the whole other half of the map, which has way more dungeons, a ton of locations. It's just going to open up a lot here. Bonta's going to go into the back of the escape. He'll find his Master Sword back here. We will see what he decides to do. Hopefully he'll at least go up and clear out. Looks like Relkin's going to go find his hand. This makes sense. He was kind of running out of things to do. He could have gone over to Eastern, which he can't fully clear. He could have gone over to Hera, which he might not be able to fully clear without a fire source as well. And so there's that hammer for Relkin, which will also give him his Dark World access. Which at this point we might see him start diving into the Dark World. We see him starting in Link's house. Yeah, switching to that hammer. I thought I was like, where are you gonna flute to, buddy? But yeah, he's switching over to that hammer. That will allow him to get to the Dark World portal over here.
Yeah, Relkin probably going straight for a Hype Cave check. And maybe
a map check. We got a red crystal down in Ice Palace, the remaining pendant over Palace of Darkness, and then the remaining 5 dungeons are crystal.
Yeah, and Relkin might be dipping into Swamp right away after this.
Oh, I had not considered that. That's a great point. Oh, there's this Titan Mitts too. Wow. All right, so like I mentioned, Dark World access, kind of a huge deal, unlocks a ton, but also Hammer and Mitts specifically unlock a ton of locations. So Relkin has a huge swath of options open to him right now. And I had not considered the Swamp Palace play until you pointed it out, and that looks like the play he's going to make.
Yeah, it's a crystal. It's fully beatable with the items Relkin has. Plus, it has like 6 item checks, so it's a very good. I would say it's a very good call to do that right away.
Yeah, it's often Swamp Palace is a dungeon you see players like to avoid, just because it's such a huge disparity between full clearing and being able to just kind of go mode and rush to the back of the dungeon. But it's also very rare that you have like 20 minutes in complete access to being able to full clear the dungeon. So that might just kind of be reading into the logic a little bit, trying to follow the seed and saying, well, I can full clear this. There's, maybe that's what the seed's telling me to do. Meanwhile, Bonta over in Paradox Cave here, he'll get his red mail and his tempered sword upgrade out of here. And then we'll likely see him do the little bomb jump off the corner there to get to the top of Death Mountain and into Spiral Cave and hopefully pick up that mirror that Relkin found earlier.
Yeah, I do wonder when Bonta's gonna route in Sahasrah's closet for the boots.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing now, though, is, with this early Dark World access, and then he's going to go find this mirror, I imagine he might put it off for a little while. Like, he's going to have so many options that at this point it'll be kind of easy to let a Seer 1, Seer 0 kind of location kind of put it off for a little while. Kind of explore a little deeper into the seed. So that could be pretty costly. Kind of incredible that we've already seen such like divergence. Oh, Bonta, yeah, he's got the hammer, which Relkin didn't have when he came up here, so that does give him access to Hera.
And also to the tablet. because of Book and at least the Master Sword.
Yeah, so we'll be able to check this ether tablet and get whatever items sitting here. Magic powder. So that is a very useful safety. You can use that on anti-fairies to make normal fairies and recover health, which has a lot of utility in pretty much every dungeon in the game. And then it will also unlock a check in Kakariko Village. And Bonta heading into Hera, finding big key right there in the basement. So Hera is not fire locked. We might have an item locked away, but it is logically completable right now.
Bonta opting to go for Hera Pod. And get his
Dang.
first try, nice.
Yeah, that was a real quick and easy setup there. He made it look easy. Yeah, doing that little glitch there, it requires 2 precise, pixel-perfect placement of both the bomb and Link's, or I guess in this case, Mog's position. Relative to one another, there's a lot of different setups that work. You just have to have the 2 pixel-perfect positions relative to one another, and the bomb boost will kind of clip you into that pot a little bit. Then you hook shot to the other side, and that'll clip you inside, and then you tap left, hold up, and it will take you into the secret fairy room of Hera, which has a teleporter to the second to last floor. And if you can do it, particularly if you can do it really quickly like Bonta did there, it is always faster than climbing the dungeon normally.
Yes, so far I don't think relkin found anything yet in Swamp.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything of note. He is getting to the back here, though, which tends to be a little more item-dense part. Bonta making quick work of the mold arm there. 3 quick slashes with Tempered Sword, and netting the blue pendant, which is one of the keys unlocking the pedestal, but not necessarily that helpful right now. But Hera is such a quick dungeon that, you know, I guess might as well knock it out while you're in the area. And he is going to double back over to Spiral Cave here. He's going to have to take the long, slow stroll through. There is a bow in the waterfall cave, or waterfall room for real. Yeah, the way Relkin has routed the seed, so I mean, we're only 26 minutes in, but the way he's routed the seed right now has just been phenomenal. And just some of those minor differences early on, especially finding those boots in the back of Sashula, is just helping him pull further and further ahead over Bonta.
Yeah, relkin making quick work of this Argus, beating it in no time and no problems at all.
Yeah, that Tempered Sword is real nice against Argus there. 1 quick slash will take care of each of those puffballs there, and 2 sword spins will take out the big eye himself in phase 2. Oh, a nice little hook dash there to jet away from Swamp Palace by Relkin. Now he's heading up here. He's got options here, so it does look like he's gonna head on over this way towards Palace of Darkness.
Well, first gonna check the Lake Hylia spots, because Relkin didn't do that yet. And maybe head over to Zora as well.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Or no, just Lake Hylia, or the island on Lake Hylia, apparently. And Hobo, probably.
Yeah, you can just hop on down here and mirror. So I'll at least check Hobo here. And we'll see if he decides to follow the rest of the Flipper's locations. But he might hop up over into Pod. Pod, again, was the third pendant sitting in the Dark World here. But it is full clearable with 5 items, and he can mirror from here over to Eastern, which is a crystal and has 3 items.
That is very true. Very true. And technically, I mean, in logic, it isn't beatable yet because the relkin doesn't have a fire source yet. But I reckon relkin can do dark rooms pretty easily.
Oh, absolutely. Pretty much at this point of the tournament, just about every player you see will almost pretend that lamp doesn't exist. Like, they won't... It will rarely be like a deciding factor on whether they decide to do a dungeon or not. I'll put it that. It is important to keep in mind in terms of just kind of deducing logic and what the seed wanted you to do and where certain items may be in relation to what the lamp unlocks. But you will never really see a player go, oh, I'm not going to do Eastern because I don't have the lamp. Oh man, this is, yeah, and this is where Boots really, especially this early on, really starts to make a difference. Like Bonta having to just slowly walk through all of these Swamp Palace rooms, particularly with the shallow water, makes Link's walking cycle even slower. So he is just bleeding time in each and every room he has to do here without Boots compared to Rel.
Yeah, it seems like Bonta right now is just following Relkin's footsteps, just not as fast as Relkin because of the boots.
Yeah, pretty much. And I believe the only thing Bonta has really done that Relkin hasn't is the front portions of Escape, which didn't really have anything. It had the shovel that led to some bombs. But in terms of like real progression items, he hasn't really been able to find anything that Relkin hasn't. Hopefully, though, if Bonta does keep kind of following a similar path to Relkin, after he gets this bow in the back of Swamp, if he opts to head towards Palace of Darkness in Eastern, he'll have a nice convenient time to be able to mirror over to Saustrilla's and grab those boots out of the back. Another nice little spin speed out of that big key room for Relkin there. Saving the frames. Sign of a gamer.
I mean, at this stage of the tournament, like every single frame counts, right?
Oh, absolutely. I was mentioning this a little bit in the match I was commentating yesterday, that I kind of like to view this as very similar to poker, where there's like if you're skilled and you're good, like you can play the odds and you can have like an above average win rate, but you're also very susceptible to just the luck factor. However, like every little optimization you can do in every little room, like just knowing slightly like the optimal strats that will save you half a second here, half a second there, really starts to add up because it'll just allow you to get in more checks over your opponent who's just doing everything a little bit slower. And when you're this deep into the tournament, those things really start to add.
Yeah, Relkin having a little bit of trouble with the red Igor's hair, but it shouldn't be that much of a hassle.
Ooh. Yeah, Relkin unfortunately went for the Armless Knight's quick kill there, and then kind of had a bad input there and caused him to shoot the bow to the left instead of down, and kind of threw off the whole quick kill. He tried to save it there at the end, didn't manage to, which just kind of cost him a little bit more time. I don't know. I feel like if you kind of mess up the quick kill, you're better just not even trying to save it, because he did spend a lot of time just trying to set it back up. But that's a Eastern Palace down. That's a second crystal for Relkin. One of which being a red crystal, which the two red crystals that are normally from Mire and Ice Palace in the vanilla game are the requirements to get to the Pyramid Fairy, which has 2 item checks. And the other one in the seed being an Ice Palace, which we don't have access to.
Well, we have access, but we can even beat the first room yet.
Okay, yeah, we can.
Yeah.
We can walk in,
and that's about it.
Yeah, you can walk in, say hi to the Freezor, and then leave. But there's Bonta finishing up Swamp Palace, netting his first crystal. And it looks like he's going to mosey on up. And over to the left here. Oh, he's going to go check Bombo's tablet here, which Relkin did not do.
Just a piece of heart, nothing important. I wonder what Bonta's gonna do next. Is Bonta gonna follow Relkin's footsteps and go to EP and Pod, or is Bonta gonna do some overall checks like K45, maybe later on flit over and check the Mire area?
We do see a switch to the mirror here, so I'm assuming he's going to head up here over to K45. Yeah, because given the items, having both the hammer and the mitts, our runners kind of had the option to head either way from Swamp Palace here. Relkin opting to head east and over to the pod and eastern combo here, whereas Bonta is going to go over here, check Stumpy. He'll be able to check K45, digging game. Those mitts, he'll be able to pull up the Black Rocks and head straight on up into Village of Outcasts. Be able to check the Smith Chain along the way if he wants. Hammerpeg Caves, Magic Bat. He's got a lot he can do over here.
Yeah, Relkin so far haven't found anything yet in Pod, I believe.
No, it doesn't look like it. He's still got some checks left here. Yeah, the pendant pod is, at least for me, like the kind of the hardest dungeon to get a read on. It always feels like when I do it like relatively early, like Relkin is here, I never get anything for my trouble, and every time I put it off, it has like everything I'm missing. Yeah, which at this point would be, yeah, we need the Fire Rod and the Ice Rod. We're gonna need both of those to clear out Skullwoods and Trinex at the back of Turtle Rock, as well as whatever medallions we need to get into Mire and Turtle Rock themselves. And there's one of those rods.
Well, no, that was Ice Rod, yeah. So a dip into Pendant Pod is definitely required.
Yeah, 100% required. Ice Rod being in that. House of Darkness, big chest. Relkin's gonna be feeling pretty good about that play. So at this point, we are looking for a Fire Rod, and then 1 or 2 medallions, one of which could be the one sitting over on Zora Ledge. We won't really know until our players head on over to Mire and Turtle Rock to check.
Yeah, Relkin is gonna check the pyramid. I wonder if Relkin is also gonna go to Catfish right away and then mirror to get to the Zora area.
I suspect he will. I kind of, when he did that routing with the lake where he, popped over with the mirror on the island and then stopped by Hobo and then went up to here, I kind of made a lot of sense to clear out these 2 dungeons, and then you can head on over to Graveyard, obviously.
I mean, yeah.
No, both options here make sense. He could have gone up and checked Catfish and then mirrored over, because he hasn't done any of that Zora area stuff, so he does have the 2 chests in the waterfall, the item off of Zora, and the medallion on the lead.
And for all we know, maybe... Okay, that's the lamp. Maybe Relkin is just checking Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb and then go back to the other side to actually go to Catfish again. Who knows?
That's a very real possibility. Meanwhile, Bonta heading into the chess game, clearing out these checks in Village of Alchemy. We'll probably see him head into Thieves Town, because that's a easy, full clearable dungeon, crystal dungeon for him, right? But yeah, this is unfortunate. I really, I really feel bad for Bonta and his lack of big. One, the game is just, a lot more interesting and fun movement-wise when you have the boots. But it really is just starting to add up at this point. All of this treks back and forth across the overworld and into dungeons, particularly like Thieves Town, that has a lot of long straightaways.
Yeah, not having the boots right now is costing Bonta a lot, honestly.
Yeah, it's not some astronomical amount, but especially with how early Relkin got him, again, saving just a couple seconds here and there on every screen, it'll start to add up and it'll just equate to minutes by the end of this race here, which at this level, that's a huge amount of time. Relkin switching to the cane there. Maybe he's having a little trouble. Although I think he was checking his bottle real quick to see if it had anything in it. Otherwise, he might have tried to throw it in the pond there. And now there's that Quake.
Yeah, I think Relkin would gladly pick up that Quake.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He has no idea if it's required or not, but he knows both Misery Mire and Turtle Rock are required dungeons, so there's a decent chance he'll need it for at least one of those. And plus he had to make this Zora check. So I imagine he will pick up this Quake, and then we'll probably see him float on over to Kakariko and take the portal into Village of Outcasts and join Bonta and Thieves Towns before too long.
No, Relkin actually opting to go to the Mire area.
Yeah, this is also a great call. This makes sense. We got the 2 easy checks here in the Mire Shed on the left, and it looks like that was a quick.
Yeah, so that means Misery Mire is actually fully beatable as well at this point, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got... You either need the boots or a hook shot to get in, and he's got both. And then you need the cane to be able to get to the boss, which he has. And technically, logically, the lamp is required, which he does have. Because I'm sure he would be fine doing kind of some of the harder dark rooms in the game if he really needed to. Yeah, Relkin starting to push through Mire while Bonta getting to the tail end of Thieves Town. Not finding much so far, though, I don't know, you'd really like to find, like, probably like the Fire Rod or something would be real ideal for him here. He really needs to find something that Relkin has. And that's really the only real big item left.
Yeah, I haven't been counting the items in Thieves Town, but is there something on Blind? I don't think so, actually, but I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not really sure either. I know obviously we've seen at least one of the mapper compass, but I'm not sure if we've seen.
Yeah, and Bonta sticking to the script there. Very, very nice blind fight.
Yeah, perfect blind fight by Bonta there. Blind is it. Everyone always calls it like a scripted fight, but it's kind of like blind always kind of responds to what you do. There isn't really like RNG per se, or it's like very manipulatable. So as long as you can do the same thing every time, the fight always plays out the same way. And so there's kind of just an optimal strat where you hit Blind's head on the first frame. It's vulnerable each time. And there's the second item in Mire for Relkin. He is missing a small key, which is in that big chest. That can be kind of the danger of opening that small key door that he did to get that last small chest. He could have opted to go up and north and around to bypass that small door, or that small key door. But also you can just kind of head over this way, and you got to transition through a number of rooms here, and he'll take the other portal to the back part of Mire. Meanwhile, Bonta finding the silvers in Hammerpeg Cave. Not required, but it is a nice item to find. Being able to kill just about everything that's vulnerable to arrows in a single shot.
And Bonta once again following Relkin's footsteps by going to the Mire area.
Yeah, Bonta checking the medallion requirement there. He does not have Quake, but he did check the Zora ledge earlier, so hopefully he remembers that Quake is sitting up. So Bonta will go over here, check the checkerboard cave before he moves on his way, which Relkin didn't check before going into Mire, so this is new. There's a fire rod.
Okay.
Which Relkin will find immediately after finishing Mire, so it's not really an advantage for Bonta. But that will open up both Skullwoods and Ice Palace for completion. Oh, here we go. Now Bonta is finally over in the eastern area. He's going to head on over to this portal because he does have the mirror. So he'll be able to mirror from the Dark World back over to the Light World. He'll be able to make a quick pit stop and grab those boots in the back of Sashala's. And then hopefully he will head into both Pod and Eastern. We'll need to head into Eastern to get that crystal, and the Ice Rod is sitting in the Palace of Darkness big chest, so hopefully he will clear the majority of that as well. fire rod was in Checkerboard Cave, which Relkin is checking right now.
Yes, and I really hope Bonta actually decides to dip into pod, because Bonta might also just do EP and then go straight to Swamp or Skullwoods, I mean.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But the fact that he did come here in the Dark World means he has it on his mind. It's very likely he'll do exactly what Relkin did, which is he'll open it up here with Kiki, mirror over and do Eastern first because it's the Crystal Dungeon, so obviously you want to do it first because you know you're going to have to do it regardless. Then he'll likely clear it out, not find anything, and then hopefully take the portal back over and do pod. But, I mean, I imagine that's why he opened Palace of Darkness. But he does have that fire rod in his pocket now, so he might just be doing that to keep his options open, and he might decide after this to head to Ice Palace or something else.
Yeah, Relkin's straight up checking Turtle Rock to see if he's actually in go mode or not.
Yeah, if Turtle Rock is also the Quake Medallion, then he is in go mode, and he's just gonna run away with the seed.
Ooh,
But it's not. It's
Bombas. Not go mode yet.
Yeah, until it ends up in Hookshot Cave right here. There seems to be a tendency where these medallions really like to be right next door to their required dungeon. Super Bunny Cave, just some rupees though. So he does have the 4 item checks in Hookshot Cave. And then he might stroll on over to back over to the west side of Death Mountain. He never checked the Ether tablet. And he also does have the capability to do Spike Cave. Oh, just loading up on health.
Wow.
3 heart containers in a row. That's the Cave of Love.
Yeah, Relkin is gonna do just what you mentioned, probably checking the tablet and then either going into Tower of Hera or Spy Cave. Or maybe both, who knows.
Yeah, maybe both. Bonta did clear out Hera earlier. And with it being a pendant, there's not really anything worthwhile in there. But it is such a quick and short dungeon that Relkin might opt to do it. But I feel like he's just going to head into Spike Cave. He's got other better options. Nope, okay, I'm a liar. Way to call me a liar, Relkin. Oh, yeah. I like this. Relkin's gonna do the hook speed version of Harapot.
Oh wow.
Nice. That's
impressive, yeah.
It's it's not as hard as it looks, actually. I took a little bit of time to practice it. You do need a little bit of practice, but if you just get a hook speed off of the stairs there, and then you just kind of push all the way up against the top wall there, and then you run towards the right, and you just kind of you're looking to line up on the right pixel with your shadow, which is why you kind of saw him do those select buffers there. And then once you find the right spot, you just need to hold down right for, I think it's about 8 frames or so. But if you just hold down right coming out of that select buffer, you can do another couple select buffers or so, like another couple, just until you see your sprite is kind of halfway into that Harapot, and then you can just hookshot in. Just kind of the same principle as the bomb method that Bonta used, but it's Doesn't require bombs, and it's really quick if you can pull it off.
Okay, and it seems like Bonta seed is back up and actually went to Ice Palace after Eastern.
Yeah, I had mentioned that as being kind of a possibility. He did take the time to open Palace of Darkness, but I kind of mentioned he might have just been doing that to keep his options open while he, especially like in Eastern, it's such a kind of easy dungeon to do at this point in the seed that he was probably kind of weighing his options, like clear the dungeon, and opted to head over to the seed, giving Relkin the middle finger at the end of Spike Cave there with the single arrow. But yeah, Ice Palace being fully clearable and accessible in logic, being a crystal dungeon, and also being the other crystal dungeon to open the Pyramid Fairy makes a lot of sense to do over a pendant pod. Just unfortunate that that Ice Rod is in pendant pod.
Yeah, that's very true, and I do reckon that a lot of runners actually hold off on Ice Palace to just go mode it because it's way faster, more convenient. But I don't blame Bonta for making this play here. As you said, a Crystal Ice Palace is way more interesting than a pendant pot.
Yeah, again, it's just kind of that desire to prioritize crystal dungeons over pendant dungeons, because you know 100% you have to do the crystal dungeons, whereas you're kind of hoping on to the idea that you might not have to do the pendants. Yeah, but unfortunately, as you pointed out, that Ice Palace and Swamp Palace are like the two big dungeons that are always much faster to go mode. Some of the other Dark World dungeons like Pod and Mire can be significantly faster to go mode, but they kind of also are heavily dependent on the big key location. But with Swamp and Ice Palace, you technically can complete them without having to collect those big keys, and just a full clear of those dungeons are extremely slow compared to rushing through them. But Bonta will get 3 items out of here and open up that Pyramid Fairy for 2 more. So if he does find Bombos here, which is the only possible item that we still need that could be here, that could be a decent sign for Bonta. It's going to be really unfortunate with Bonta opting not to do Pod when it was kind of the most convenient. There's, like, it's probably going to be a while until he decides to head back.
Bonta did find Cape though, and I don't think we have seen a bumper ledge check. Also, Relkin making quick work of that Modula. That was a good showcase.
Yeah, that was a real quick moth fight. Moth definitely one of those bosses you want to try to kill quickly. I mean, obviously we want to kill all of the bosses quickly as well. But as that fight progresses, the spikes start to move around a lot more, and it can be a lot more annoying to kill him as the fight moves on.
I also wonder if Relkin is gonna check Pet right after picking up this chest.
You know, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Oh, well, there's that bomb.
That's big. That's big for Bonta right now.
Yeah, and Relkin is going to check that pedestal. It does cost, 10-15 seconds here, but it could save you a ton if it does happen to be required. And he knows that Bombos is the only thing that he's looking for, which very well could have been there. So that Bombos is a nice find. Although we do see Relkin's going to head on down. He's going to do Thieves Town while he's in the area. But I imagine immediately after that he's going to head to Ice Palace. So that Bombos find by Bonta is not going to make too much of a difference. It actually could be a very bad thing. Because with that Cane of Samaria and Bombos, he can get into Turtle Rock and he can do the entirety of the dungeon other than the boss. And so... And Ice Rod being in Turtle Rock is no stretch. It happens far too often, some would say.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
And also, given the kind of the boot situation here, again, those are sitting in the back of Sahasralas. Bonta found those relatively recently, only about 10-15 minutes ago. Knowing that Relkin could have found those very early on, Bonta could be feeling a little bit behind.
Yeah, and Bonta straight away goes for Pyramid Fairy, which is a logical... Yeah, it's a logical choice, especially since Bonta also didn't check Pyramid yet.
Yeah, this makes a ton of sense. He'll be able to check the item on top of the pyramid as well as Pyramid Fairy. This would also be a great time for him to run up and check Catfish, because he does need to... He could mirror over from there over to Zora, because he does need to pick up that Quake on Zora Ledge that he checked long ago near the beginning of the... So he should hopefully remember that it is there. And there we got a nice little bomb dupe from Bonta there. If you kind of transition the screen either by just going through a natural transition or using a mirror, just as the timer for the big bomb hits 0, it will kind of duplicate and go to Link's position. So just kind of going back and forth between that screen transition, there's a really easy way to set it up. And you kind of want to do that because normally you can't dash with the boots, or you can't dash with the bomb. So if you have the boots, you can kind of just leave the bomb behind to get where you're going a little bit faster. Bonta finding a gold sword in the Pyramid Fairy. Not really a particularly useful item. It does help a little bit, maybe in the Try Next fight over Tempered, but I mean, it's better than nothing. But not really what he was hoping to find in that Pyramid Fairy. Again, Bonta is looking for the Ice Rod, which is going to be in that Palace of Darkness big chest, with Palace of Darkness being a pendant and him already doing Eastern. It's probably going to be a while until he makes his way back there. Meanwhile, Relkin is making his way through Ice Palace, which does have Bombos sitting in the double Freezor room above the big chest, which will put Relkin in go mode, at which point he'll just have to kind of head on over, clear out Thieves Sound, clear out Turtle Rock, and this is a fast Ganon seed. That was the setting that Relkin decided to toggle after his loss in the first game between these two players. So after he finishes up here, finishes up Thieves Sound, finishes up Turtle Rock, he'll be able to just head over to the pyramid and complete the seed without stepping foot into Ganon's tower.
Yeah, and there it is for Relkin. Relkin is officially in go mode.
Yeah, and like I said, he's kind of running away with it at this point. Like I said, that pendant pod, it's always a hard dungeon to get a read on, so I can't really blame Bonta for skipping it. Even if he hadn't, though, Relkin did feel like he was maybe not a significant amount ahead, but he was noticeably ahead. Relkin just kind of he routed the seed really like stinking well. Particularly early on, Bonta had wasted a little bit of time going into the front of Escape, which Relkin just never ended up having to do. So Bonta wasted time clearing it out without boots, no less, and Relkin found those boots fairly early on in the back of Sosrola's hut, which Bonta didn't check until about 40 minutes into the seed. That was actually a nice little Skullwoods entry on Bonta's part. Kind of burning the God, I don't even know what to call that thing. I guess the trunk of that skull is a lot easier from down below. The hitbox from the side is a little bit finicky, but it is faster and saves the frames. Oh,
yeah, very quick fight from Bonta as
dang.
well on Macula.
You can see none of the spikes have even moved. That was a really slick fight. Yeah, he's got that gold sword, which if you're holding it out and do pokes with, still does tempered sword damage. Moth dies just to 4 tempered sword hits. And if you have tempered sword or gold sword, you kind of like to try to set up for like a little poke dash at Moth at the beginning to get a double hit, which Bonta managed to do. Got 2 quick hits and then another 2 quick ones. Again, taking him out before those spikes even moved. Just really optimal.
Yeah, and Bonta now going into misery, which is understandable from his from Bonta's perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's just, you know, a matter of wanting to prioritize the dungeons you know you have to clear over the dungeons you might not have to. So he's got Misery Mire here as a crystal dungeon, full clearable. And again, as I mentioned, this is one of those dungeons that can be faster if you're go moding it versus full clearing it, but it's entirely dependent on the big key, which this one did happen to have a very nice, easy, kind of like a Godmire big key location. So it would have been nice to see a go mode here, but he's got to find that ice rod, which is still sitting over in Pendant Pod. We'll see if he decides to go there after this. Again, ice rod being in Turtle Rock is no stretch. It happens a lot. So hopefully he decides to go over and kind of clear out Pendant Pod before making the Turtle Rock play. But he might be kind of feeling behind again with those late boots that he might just have to make the move on Turtle Rock.
Oh, Bonta's actually gonna go mode Mire. Wow.
Okay, yeah,
I think Bonta just feels really behind at this point. And just gonna gamble it.
Yeah, I'm certain that's part of it. And I know, like, personally, for myself, when you get that kind of Godmire big key set up, it gets real tempting to just like clear it. Especially because Vitreous 1 might have one of the only 2 items in Mire anyway, and Vitreous might have one of them. and full clearing mire with that setup is going to take an extra couple minutes compared to go moding it. Plus, if Vitreous does have an item, he can opt to go back in, and then he'll only have to clear chests until he finds the second item, which could potentially save a little bit of time, but doing the start of mire is also a little bit slow, so having to do it an extra time may or may not save time. But he may just opt to just go, what are the odds that the ice rod is going to be in here? But unfortunately, it doesn't really matter what Bonta does at this point. Even if he heads straight to pod and finds that ice rod, Relkin just has too much of a lead with fast scanning. Because Relkin just has to finish up Turtle Rock here, and then he can head straight into the Ganon fight. So there just really isn't any opportunities for Bonta to make up time. And it does look like Bonta is just going to pray that ice rod is in Turtle Rock anyway.
So Relkin already found 2 small keys, hoping to find the big key soon.
Yeah, ideally, Relkin will find the big key in this next chest. It's just a shield, so he is going to have the vanilla big key in the lava chest. Which also means that he'll likely want to go out and around and check the big chest itself, just to make sure he doesn't end up getting key locked at the end and having to backtrack. Yeah, here we go. We see Bonta over here at Turtle Rock. He's gonna head on in. Unfortunately, he's not gonna find what he's looking for, but given his situation, given his late boots and kind of the way he's routed, I can't blame him. It makes a lot of sense. He kind of knows going in that this is where he needs Ice Rod to be to even have a shot. Yeah, as is being mentioned a little bit in chat, this does mean that there will be a game 3 between these players. And it looks like their game 3 will be scheduled for the same time tomorrow. There isn't a channel relegated for that restream yet, but hopefully just keep your eyes out on the speed gaming schedule for the tiebreaker to see who moves on.
Yeah, relkin making quick work of that Trinex, now going straight to the pyramid and fight Ganon. Because once again, this is a fast Ganon seed, so Ganon's tower is not required.
Yes. So no GT
guessing game, no guessing game.
GT key guessing game for y'all, but feel free to, I don't know, meme and chat with your numbers if you want. But yeah, the fast Ganon option just kind of, it makes that Ganon hole on top of the pyramid open by default, meaning you can go visit your old friend Ganon whenever you have access to that location. But you can't hurt him until you've finished your goal, which for this particular seed happens to be, you know, the standard 7 crystals. Once you've got them, you can just head on over here. So relkin will be wrapping this up in just a few minutes. He doesn't have the silver arrows, which were in the hammer peg cave. But he does have 14 hearts. He's got red mail. He's got tempered sword. It will still be a pain-free and relatively easy and quick Ganon fight for.
Yes, and while relkin is up against Ganon, Bonta actually found the mushroom in what was it called again?
It was Mimic Cave.
Mimic Cave, thank you. I forgot the name there for a second.
Yeah, Mimic Cave being it was kind of, I remember as a kid, it was always like, I remember that cave, but I could never remember how to get there. You just have to kind of mirror outside the cave to the Turtle Rock Big Chest. And that'll take you to a little ledge in the light world. That's the only way you can access it without glitches. With an additional item check there. So it does bring the item kind of count for Turtle Rock up to 6. Kind of like quote-unquote Turtle Rock, because you do have to have access to Turtle Rock to get there. If you have the mirror, it just gives you an additional item check. And with that, we are already through the first 3 phases of Ganon for. And there he is, setting up the torch glitch by lighting that left torch again before the right one goes out. That right torch there will remain lit for the rest of the fight, so you only have to light this left one, which will make fighting Ganon here without silvers much easier. The goal here is to hit him just as he's teleporting away. So you see relkin charging up the spin slash here, which isn't technically required, though it's very difficult to hit him otherwise, because that spin slash will, one, it does more damage, so it's only going to take 12 hits here. And it just has that longer, lingering hitbox. We're seeing a lot of triples on relkin. This is a very, very smooth Ganon fight.
Yeah, get GG's out for relkin. That was a great Ganon fight, definitely.
Yeah, that was a very nice fight. Very quick seed, even with the fast Ganon setting. Not even sub 118 though. Come on, relkin. But no, seriously, that was a very, very, very good showing by relkin. He routed the heck out of that seed. Meanwhile, Bonta is going to keep on rummaging around looking for the ice rod. It's going to clear out some of these overworld locations. But ultimately, he will make his way over to Pod before too awfully long. He's running out of locations here. And that ice rod is in the Palace of Darkness big chest.
Yeah, Bonta now just checking some locations, hoping to find the ice rod somewhere.
Oh, there you are. What's up, Relkin?
Oh my god.
Well, first of all, congratulations on the victory there. Yeah, you did finish with an SRL official time of 1:18:09.
No, oh, I thought you said 109. It's 118:09, I think.
Yeah, 1:18:09. Yeah, GG's. How do you feel?
I am shaking so much right now. I had no idea what to think when I found Bombos and Ice Palace. Honestly, I didn't know what to think. I found Fire Rod and Checkerboard Cave because I could have been in go at that point.
Oh yeah, because you hadn't checked Turtle Rock until after that. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm kind of the same way where I like almost always feel behind, and especially in tournament races 1-on-1, because it's just so easy to consider like, well, what if my opponent just played this absolutely perfectly? But even so, in your case, you played this, like, you routed this extremely well.
Oh man, yeah. I'll say so. Oops, just hit my table. Let me think here. Yeah, I think the pod thing was super helpful because I didn't have to worry about last locating Ice Rod. That bow is just like, you know what? I'll just go into pod. There's got to be something in pendant pod, right? And sure enough, one of the worst items could have been there.
Yeah, especially right at the end there in the big chest, with the rest of it being pretty dry. So it was kind of nice to see that right at the end. And definitely, it's got to be a huge sigh of relief there because, you know, we all hate that ice rod hunt. I did really like your choice to go straight into Swamp Palace once you got into Dark World. Like, very rarely do you see like the 20-minute Swamp Palace play.
I mean, I had all the items I needed to full clear it, so I was like, why not go in there now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's often why you don't see it that early. Is like you rarely have all the stuff to do Swamp Palace that early. So I'm kind of assuming, like, did you just kind of look at your items and be like, oh, I have everything to do Swamp Palace super early. That's kind of weird. I should probably do that. Is that kind of just what your thought process was?
Yeah, when I got the mitts and Hype Cave, I was like, oh, okay, where do I go next? I'm like, okay, let's go this way. Oh wait, I have everything I need to beat Swamp. No, go Swamp, go Swamp, go Swamp. Yep, and I went ahead and I don't know if you caught that, but I did the Kyong route where you go straight to left side, and then check south chest, just because I had already found the map in the first chest. I mean, there wasn't anything on left side anyway, but I still got the bow in the back, so that was like, okay, good. This was the correct play, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so a couple of the big things, a lot of it just actually happened early on. Bonta did the front of escape, which you managed to just completely skip. And Bonta also did that without boots, because that was a huge thing. You found the boots fairly early on. Bonta found them like almost 50 minutes into the seed. So I'm kind of assuming he felt a little bit behind at that point, given their location.
Yeah, he told me in SRL that he got him in like 47 minutes. I was like, oh wow, yeah, he lost quite a bit of time then. Yep.
Oh yeah, just bleeding time with every screen at that point.
Oh,
But also,
yeah.
oh sorry, I was just gonna say that was the I I lost my own train of thought there. After Swamp, kind of given your items, you had, you know, obviously you had the hammer because you just did Swamp, which needs a hammer. So you had the hammer, and you had the mitts, and you had the bow. which kind of meant because Bonta also did Swamp kind of first thing in the Dark World. It just took him a little bit longer to get to the Dark World, but you both did Swamp first thing. But having those items kind of meant that you could kind of choose to go either way in the Dark World, and so you opted to head over to Pod and Eastern, which worked out really well, finding that Ice Rod for you. Whereas Bonta opted to head west and do Village of Outcasts and the Smith Chain and an early Thieves Town, which really didn't turn up much for him. He did get silvers out of it in Hammerpeg Cave, but not a whole lot else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's also one question I want to ask. Because you did Skull Woods, and then instead of going to Thieves Town first, you went to Ice Palace. Like, what was your mind behind that?
Okay, so yeah, I was wondering if someone might ask that. That is because I got the Fire Rod most recently, and I was like, I'm gonna go straight for things that are directly locked by Fire Rod, because if Bombus is an Ice Palace, that means it requires the Fire Rod. I did Skull Woods first, just so I could check the ped and get that out of the way, and that thankfully was nothing. And then I went to Ice Palace. So yeah, Fire Rod stuff was my priority as soon as I got it.
Okay, yeah, that's actually just like a good logical reason. Yeah, because obviously there is some debate in Twitch chat, as there always is. I'm glad you have like a good logical reason. I just kind of like doing Ice Palace a little bit, just because everyone seems to put it off so much and hates doing it. And then I guess this also had the added benefit of it was going to unlock the Pyramid Fairy, so you did get 2 extra checks out of it compared to normal.
Oh yeah, that was the last reason I went to Ice before much else, because I was gonna, if I didn't find Go Mode in Ice, I would just go back to Thieves Town, do all those checks, and do Smith Chain all the way into Pyramid Fairy.
All right, Bonta did pick up his Ice Rod on the restream here now, and he's just hugging this Hinox over and over and over again. I'm not sure why he wants a dead Moogle. All
Well,
right, final collection rate of 132 for you. That's pretty.
Yeah. The reason he's doing that is because he's trying to save his portal at TR.
Oh, right. That's God. Y'all just operate on a whole nother level compared.
Yeah. I was, actually before this, hot tech for you guys. Anyone trying to save your portal in fast cannon mode. If you have beaten Aghanim and you want to try and save your portal, and you've already, you've been through all the way to Turtle Rock, you left your portal at the Laser Bridge entrance. If there's a certain way you can set desync the camera near the pyramid, and if you run over up to the Ganon hole and you fall down on the far left side, that will Houlihan, and you'll end up in the light world, and you don't have to worry.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea that was like a way to do Houlihan.
Yeah. Shouts to Asder for dropping that in chat one day. I was like, oh wow, that's actually super sick.
Yeah, that's dang, that's some advanced tech.
Yeah, I think it only works in fast cannon.
Yeah, you would need
Some way to fall
you
down.
would just need the Ganon hole open, and fast cannon's really kind of the only situation where like you could do that in any seed, I guess, but like fast cannon's the only one where it would really have a usable or viable application.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But yeah, if Aghanim's not dead and it's not required to beat him, then you can just die in the Dark World. That'll do just fine.
Yeah, because that's just if you obviously you have the mirror because you're trying to save your portal, and if Aghanim's dead, the game will try to respawn you in the Dark World when you. But yeah, that's a way to get back to the Light World. That's smart. And then yeah, answering the question in chat, Bonta does know that relkin finished. He does have access to the IRC channel where he can see that Relkin had dot. But you know, he just wants to finish up. You know, he's a good sport.
Yeah, I would have tried to finish up yesterday, but I had somewhere to be, so I could not finish up. I needed to need to finish or quit as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean that's understandable. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, there's no particular reason for Bonta. He doesn't have to finish. Like, there's no punishment for forfeiting. But most players will opt to continue unless, you know, it's going to be just an egregiously long time, or they're frustrated, or they have some other prior engagement.
Yep, just a sign of respect between runners.
And so he is going to be dropping in again in hole here. He does have silver arrows, so that will speed up the game and fight for him a little bit compared to so we'll see him finish probably with like a 131-ish. That's an actual guess, even though I could check the real time. Oh, I guess. Well, maybe we'll wait till Bonta finishes, because you did discuss the change for tomorrow's game, which again will be at the same time tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that will be fast gain and map compass shuffle. I don't know if you've already said that or not.
Wow, I was teasing it out and you just drop it. But yes, map compass shuffle, same time tomorrow. There are some people signed up for commentary, but it's not set to any given channel yet, so just keep an eye out on the Speed Gaming schedule for that. And then I did have where is it? There's the challenge page. So the winner between you two will move on to the round of 16, and you will face the winner of Doom Tap and the winner of either Mentos or Kermit. So you can have a little bit until you find out who your opponent will be.
Mm-hmm.
And also GG's to Bonta as well. Just finished his seed on the restream.
Oh, yep, and there's that 131.01. I'm not sure if he wanted to hop in and talk about the seed real quick. Y'all both like dipped out of that IRC channel.
Oh, he if anything, he always just hangs out in chat. He doesn't typically hop on the interview booth.
Okay. Well then, GG to Bonta. And then there's his collection rate as well. 151 compared to your 130.
For all I know, he might actually also have somewhere to be. Who knows?
All right then. Well, I mean, he doesn't want to join us. I don't really have much else to ask or discuss with this seed. I don't know if you've got anything, Relkin, Wiki.
I did have something and I already forgot what it was.
Well, I have something as well, so you can think about that and maybe you'll remember it. But I want to give a quick shout out to the tracker, was Drossi. Thanks for tracking. You did an amazing job. And I also want to thank, GG's to Relkin and Bonta both for the great race they put up. And I want to thank Swerve, my co-commentator. It was I had a blast doing that.
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you for joining me. And yeah, and also again, shout outs to Drossi for tracking. Drossi's a good dude, and tracking definitely saves my skin when I'm doing one of these, because there's a lot of stuff I miss, believe it or not.
Yep. Thank you for the commentary. Thank you, Drossi, for the tracking. Yep. I'm gonna head out. Thanks. Thank you all.
All right. Well, I guess with that, have a good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good night. And remember, tomorrow, same time, game 3 between relkin and Bonta. We don't know which channel yet, but that will be, we will know that by tomorrow, obviously. But yeah, yeah, have fun watching more randos in the future, and see you all.
Yeah, like I mentioned, just kind of keep an eye out on the speed gaming schedule for see what channel that rematch or that match, the game 3 match ends up being tomorrow. Other than that, kind of wrapping up the weekend on speed gaming here. There's going to be Chrysalis Randomizer on the main speed gaming channel going on right now with another match starting up shortly. There's going to be a Zelda 1 randomizer race on Speed Gaming 2 later tonight, and a Castlevania Symphony of the Night showcase. So feel free to check those out. Make sure to follow Speed Gaming channels, Speed Gaming, and Speed Gaming 2 through 6. With that, again, I am Swerb, and I was joined by Wiki. Have a good evening, everyone.